This video is to assist you with using NetSite's Extreme Control Center version 7 for upgrading your device firmware on the network. To begin, log into the Extreme Control Center. This will bring you to your dashboard view. From the dashboard, you're going to want to go over to your Firmware tab. From the Firmware tab, you can right-click and select Download Firmware. This brings you to the firmware page on the ExtremeNetworks.com support site. In here, you can go in and select your firmware. In this case, I'm upgrading a D2, so I will select the D2 firmware, which I've actually already downloaded, so I won't bother going through that process. Once done, you can close out of the screen, and then you're going to want to upload that firmware that you just downloaded to your system up to the Extreme Control Center server. To do so, click on the Upload button, enter the file here. In this case, it's a D2. Select the file transfer method, the server directory path, and then do an upload. This will take the firmware from your local system and put it up on the Extreme Control Center server system. Once that's complete, close, and then select Refresh. That will update the device type images, so now when you look at the D series, you can see that there's an image associated to it. It gives you the path, the data was put up, the image size, and some more detailed information on the right. Once that's complete, we can then go to our Devices tab, and we'll select our device. We'll right-click on it and select Configuration Firmware, Upgrade Firmware. In here, we're going to want to assign the image that we're going to push up to this D2 system. Right now, there's only one image in there, so we'll select it. We'll say OK, and you notice it populates this area right here. While in here, we also want to look at the set config. The set config defines the file transfer mode and the MIB and script override methods. For Exos devices, we're going to want to select script, and then the particular script that we want to use will be Exos TFTP VR management. And finally, the mapped server is the NetSite server system, so the Extreme Control Center server system itself, unless you're using some other TFTP server or SCP server. So I'm going to set this back to what it was before, controlled by device type, my D2, and then I click OK. At this point, we're ready to upgrade the firmware. We can do a reset on the device after the upgrade, and we can also schedule it. If we click Start now, it'll automatically begin the firmware upgrade. If I click Schedule, it'll come up with a scheduler allowing me to set it, and then when I push the Schedule button, it will write down to the switch to go ahead and upgrade the firmware at that time. You can also bring up the Java applications in order to upgrade the firmware if you don't wish to do it through the new Extreme Control Center. And that's available by pulling down the Network tab. Cancel out of this first. And go to your Legacy Applications. And from the Legacy Applications, you can select either Console or the Inventory Manager. If you need further assistance, you can click on Help in the upper right-hand corner of the screen or contact us at extremenetworks.com/support.